You know what the real problem is? A lot of you guys think that you have supportive friends, but what you really have are people who are just comfortable with your chaos. They don't check you, they don't challenge you, they just sit front row for the show. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Rebuild Different. I'm Epiphany Page, and today's episode might sting a little, but in that finally someone said it kind of way. Your circle might be keeping you more stuck than your trauma is. Some people don't want you healed. They want you predictable. They want the version of you who spirals and crashes out, vents, tolerates disrespect, entertains the same cycles, doubts yourself, stays small. But the moment that you start growing, setting boundaries, and choosing yourself, suddenly you become difficult, or you've changed, or you're acting funny. But no, it's because you're finally acting like somebody who actually loves themselves. If your peace threatens the dynamic of the friendship, it was not peace or friendship in the first place. A real friend is going to risk the vibe to save you, and a fake friend will protect the vibe to keep access to you. There's a big difference. Some of you have friends who hyped your worst decisions because they'd rather keep you close than help you rise. It's that friend that hypes the breakup that you should not go back to. It's the friend that tells you you're fine when you're clearly not. Or the friend who watches you act out of character and says nothing. Or the friend who only shows up when you're chaotic, but never when you're healing. That's not love. That's convenience. Did you know that your nervous system mirrors the emotional patterns of people that are closest to you? Maybe you've heard that saying that you're the average of the people that you spend the most time with. It's called co-regulation. So if your circle is unhealed, you're unconsciously going to match their baseline. And if they normalize chaos, then your body is going to see that chaos and recognize it as home. If they avoid accountability, you'll feel attacked by honesty. If they minimize their own pain, you minimize yours. Your circle literally shapes your sense of normal. And if normal is dysfunction, you'll never feel safe growing out of it. There are two types of friends. The friend who hypes your emotion in the moment, and the friend that protects your future. One fuels whatever version of you is convenient. The other is invested of the version of you that's rising. So if someone can sit there and watch you ruin your life and stay silent, that is not your friend. That is someone who likes seeing you stay small. Not always because they're evil, but because your elevation exposes their stagnation. Let's go deeper. People avoid checking you for a few reasons. One, they're just as unhealed as you, because calling you out means they would have to call themselves out too. Two, they benefit from your dysfunction. You being down makes them feel up. You shrinking makes them feel bigger. Three, they're scared of losing access. If you grow, they can't predict you. If you evolve, they can't control the dynamic. Four, they lack emotional depth. There are some people who simply cannot handle uncomfortable truth. And five, you haven't been honest with yourself. If you pretend you're okay, they'll pretend with you. But let's plug in what you said, because that's the part that matters. Keeping you down makes them feel better about never elevating themselves. Your growth confronts their lack of effort. Your healing confronts their comfort. Your evolution confronts their excuses. Some people are okay seeing you stressed, struggling, and settling because it makes them feel less behind. But other people are not your problem. You are your problem. Fuck what everybody else thinks and their feelings. Take care of your own. I've had friends, and even some exes, who were bending over backwards for people who wouldn't even lend them $5 if they were hungry. And whenever I would call it out and say, those are not your friends, they would fight me on it. Why? Because admitting that truth hurts. It forces you to confront that you've been giving love, loyalty, and time to people who wouldn't even cross the street for you. And this might sound fucked up to some people, but I'm going to say it anyways. Because this podcast isn't about being polite. It's about being honest. I had a friend pull me aside once when I gained some weight, and I wasn't carrying it well. And he pulled me aside, looks at me, and says, "Yo, Paige, what's up?" And you know what? I appreciated it. because somebody needed to ask me if I was okay. Somebody needed to say, you don't look like yourself. Something's off. Is there anything going on? Talk to me. That was not disrespect. That was love. It was also concern, and it was also accountability, because sometimes you need that outside mirror when you're avoiding your own. And some of you think accountability is an attack because you were raised around people who enabled you. But hearing the truth from someone who loves you, that's oxygen. A real friend is not afraid to lose the version of you that's hurting because they're invested in the version of you that's healing. They'll say, this isn't you. You deserve better. You're slipping. What's going on? I'm not letting you settle. They're not trying to check you. They're trying to save you. Because friendship without honesty is just dysfunction with matching outfits. And I hope any of you watching out there do have people that you can really call your friends. Because it's important. It's important to have people around you who don't want to see you drown just to see you drown. A few years ago, I was going through a very, very rough time. And I was just not myself. Wasn't acting like myself. I was making decisions that I wouldn't normally make. And I've had a very, very close circle for a long, long time. Some of my best friends that I met were in college, and we're going on 20 years of friendship. And there were times when I was drowning, and not a single person, not a single one of them who I called my friend, sat there and let me drown and said nothing. Every single person I consider a friend pulled me aside and said, Paige, you're fucking up. What is going on? And I feel very lucky to have relationships like that because I know it's not the norm, but we all deserve people like that. And those are the people that you take care of. Those are the people that you elevate when you level up. Those are the people that you want around. Not the ones who are going to tell you it's a good idea to call your stanky ass ex-boyfriend and get back together with him when he treated you like shit. This is where the mirror flips. Sometimes you're the friend who avoids the truth. You don't speak up because you don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want to disrupt the vibe. You don't want to lose the friendship. But silence is not kindness. It's abandonment in slow motion. Because if someone that you love is drowning and you stay silent, you're not protecting them. You're protecting your comfort. And that's not friendship. You don't need more friends who are going to hype you up. You need friends who are going to hold you up. And you don't need people around you who are just going to sit there and watch your fucking chaos. You need a circle that is going to protect your growth. So pay attention to who claps when you're breaking down. Pay attention to the people who get uncomfortable when you're healing, or who benefits from you staying small, or who only calls when they need the old version of you, because that's your answer. All right, guys, this has been another episode of Rebuild Different. Thanks for watching. If this episode hit you in the chest, then I think you know what you got to do next. Please like, subscribe, maybe send this to one of your hard-headed friends, and I'll see you guys next week.